Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and today I am joined by a very special guest, someone I've wanted on the show for a long, long time. Welcome to the show, Roni Ruggenberg. How you doing today, Roni?
Hi, Gavin. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, well, it is awesome to have you here. I am so stoked to finally have you on the show because you do a lot of really cool stuff at Wizards and a few things that are really near and dear to my heart. But first, let's kick it off. Who are you? What do you do at Wizards? How did you get your job here? Fill us in.
Not to go too far back, but I came to Wizards not long after graduating college. I got a degree in industrial design, and I was looking for an opportunity to get into packaging as a specialization because I felt like that was a good opportunity for me to have a positive impact because the packaging industry as a whole creates a significant amount of waste. And so I felt like maybe I could be a positive agent for change. And so I wanted to get into that. I knew that an opportunity opened up with Wizards. So I went for it because how cool would that be to also work for a game company and do that at the same time?
And that was how many years ago now? How long have you been at Wizards?
I've been at the company for over 12 years.
Holy smokes. So you've really seen it all evolve the whole way through. And so you work on the packaging. So what exactly does that mean, like when you're making the packaging for a product?
Yeah, so working on the structural packaging, which means that we're engineering the 3D. It's the physical thing that you're holding in your hand. And of course, then we have talented artists and designers who will skin that with all the pretty stuff. But the job that I do is to work with materials and to try to engineer packaging in such a way that it helps protect the product, the cards that our players love, but also make it more interesting and exciting for them. We think about the unboxing experience and the general interactions. We also do think about the end of life too. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that today.
Yeah, totally. But it just kind of shows something off. So I actually have this commander deck here. I'm a total just slob. I just have this still at my desk. I opened it in a recent video. And so when we changed the commander deck packaging, you were one of the folks who worked on that, right? So helping to craft the new way it was going to look, how the card window was going to look, creating the pull tab at the bottom, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do a lot of this work. I work as a team too. We have a lot of people internally and externally partners working on it. But Commander is a really great one. That's one that I worked on recently. And I've worked on a couple iterations of Commander packaging actually in my time here because I've been here for long enough that we just try to keep improving it and making it better. And I have to say that the most recent Commander packaging that we've put out there is great. I'm really proud of what we've done.
And so you've been here a long time. You've probably worked on a lot of cool projects. I mean, I remember working with you on like the kind of Ugin's Fate like thing that popped up in the middle of the store. You probably worked on that on the Hell Vault too, like all kinds of wild stuff over time. Do you have like a favorite project or like a thing that you worked on? You're like, that was awesome. It was so cool to make that.
Yeah, actually the most fun ones were the kind of centerpieces that we were creating for our WPN stores. I think those were probably the most memorable, but I'm going to be honest, the Commander one that you just held up there and the most recent iterations of Commander packaging are really my favorite because we've gone back to this product a couple times, trying to rework it, make it look more exciting, make it a little bit more sustainable. But recently, when we're taking a look at trying to cut plastic out of our packaging entirely, I feel like we made some really good decisions with this packaging, including, I know you didn't hold it up, but we do have a variant of the packaging that we're using for our e-commerce channel so that we can deliver the product to players in an even smaller footprint, right? So we have a more sustainable package for our retail shelves and then one that's better suited even for e-commerce. And I really love that. That was our first time experimenting with trying to reduce waste by catering to different markets.
Right. So yeah, on Amazon, you can buy like the low packaging version, for example, that sends you the commander deck without any of the packaging at all, which on one hand, your packaging is so great. It's a shame that, it doesn't come with any, but on the other, it's really, really great for removing that waste and just giving the player what they want, the deck, and they don't need the huge packaging, especially because so often the packaging is meant to catch your eye when it's, on a shelf at a store. And if you're buying it online, well, you don't need that to catch your eye anymore. You already know what you want.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and the players who might be buying online, getting the minimal packaging that we have, they are finding some of these Easter eggs that we kind of hope players find, but that we don't always talk about. The outer box, that corrugated box itself, can also be a deck box for you. So you kind of, either way, you get something interesting and fun, and that we're trying to give people these packaging components that can have a second function. And that's one of the most fun and exciting things, I think, with the new packaging that we're making in 2021. And then the additional package changes that you'll see in 2022 is that we have a lot of interactive packaging components.
So we've alluded to sustainability a few times now, and now I want to kind of dig into that. So Magic has been doing a number of things to try and make it more sustainable, not use so much waste. Roni, talk to me about what some of those things are. You mentioned the packaging a moment ago that we're using in our e-commerce channels, but what are some of the other things we're doing to reduce waste with our products?
So we've been gradually doing some things over the years, right? We've made some larger changes more recently, but for a number of years, we've been doing things like sourcing paperboard that's green certified. We've been trying to reduce the amount of plastic that we put in our packaging. We've also been trying to incorporate more recycled content material. But more recently, we have been looking to just cut out plastic entirely, right? We're trying to go plastic free, and it's a journey, and it can be a little bit easier said than done. One of the other things that we've done more recently is that we've started including some on-pack recycling labels on our packaging. And I'm really excited about this, even though it's kind of a small thing, because even with the packages that might still have plastic in them, what we're doing is we're trying to communicate with our players more effectively about what our packaging is, what it's made of, and then what you're supposed to do with it after you open it and you're ready to dispose of it. So you'll see it's a how to recycle label, and you're going to see this on all of our Magic packaging, and you'll be able to tell whether a component's paper or plastic, and whether it's paper or plastic, whether you can recycle it or whether you have to throw it in the trash, unfortunately. But it's our way of trying to be more transparent and inform players so that they can more responsibly dispose of the packaging that we're putting in their hands.
Well, speaking of that, let's kind of look at that for a second. So we've got a number of products we're making for Magic. We've got, our core ones, our booster packs, and then the booster boxes they come in. We've got our commander decks, a number of other things that we're making. What kind of categories, if I'm a player, can I generally expect right now at this moment for things to fall into if I have some packaging in my hand and I don't know where to put it?
Most of the packaging that we're creating right now, and a lot of the packaging that's on the market, will be paper-based. It'll be paperboard, it'll be corrugated board, and so that means that it's going to be recyclable. That means most people can throw it in their curbside recycling bin. There will still be a little bit of plastic that people are seeing moving forward. In those cases, it's going to need to go in the trash can. And until we're able to change it out, people will see paper and plastic primarily, and hopefully the labeling will make it really clear what they're supposed to do with it.
So commander boxes, recycling; booster boxes, recycling; booster wrappers, trash. Is that about right?
Booster wrappers are trash. So any of the film, so the shrink film that you see on the booster display boxes, or maybe some of your deck products, basically any wrap that's currently holding cards will probably need to go in the trash.
I know at one point many years ago with Modern Masters 2015, I believe, we did try a paper booster pack out. And I get questions from players all the time. What happened with that? Are we still exploring that? What did we learn from that experience? Can you speak to that a little bit? It's a really popular question.
Yeah, that was, I was really excited that we did that, and it was kind of a bummer that it went away. And I know that I've seen a lot of comments online, people feeling the same way. That is something that we've tried to revisit. And basically what happened is it was unfortunate. We saw that there was some complaints of card damage. And so people associated that with the new paper packaging. It wasn't actually associated, but as a result, we backed away from that packaging design. We felt like it was perceived negatively, and we didn't want people thinking that every time they saw that package, they should expect to get damaged product, right? We feel very strongly about making sure that we're delivering our quality card products to our players, regardless of any packaging changes that we're making. That's the first function of the packaging. We need to get that product to you safely. So we have been taking a look at that concept again and exploring that. But that's just one concept in a pool of many that we're considering right now as a way to go plastic free with our card wraps. You might see it again in the future, but I can't make any promises.
All right, well, that makes sense. Maybe we'll see it again in the future. Speaking of packaging, I know Secret Lair is one that we send a ton out all over. Can you talk a bit about that packaging and what we're trying to do to make it more sustainable?
Yeah, so Secret Lair, by now, players have seen that we've made some changes overall to the Secret Lair packaging. We've slimmed down the boxes, and we've done that in an attempt to, again, minimize the amount of material that we're using, create a little bit less waste, and we are oftentimes responding directly to feedback from our players. And we did get some feedback from players about questioning the amount of space that was in the previous Secret Lair drop boxes. So we have since redesigned it, and inside there's only one packaging component in there really besides the cards that you're getting. And so recently what we've done is taken a look at doing something fun with that component.
Yeah, and I actually have a sample to show you right here. It looks like this. It looks like a bunch of Magic cards that are folded up. What do we have here, Roni?
So this is the fun part. If you don't mind me telling you exactly how it came to be, essentially I got an email or a message from our product architect, Mark Hagan, one day, and he said, hey, there's probably some waste that's created during our manufacturing process. What do you think about turning that into a packaging component for Secret Lair? And I thought, wow, what a cool idea. I think that might work. Let's look into it and I'll get back to you. Also, why didn't I think of that? What a great idea. So we, long story short, we were able to make it work out. And I'm going to explain to people what it is exactly that they're seeing. So you're seeing card images on there. What this is it's essentially a test sheet that's created during the manufacturing process. So with any mass manufactured print item, you are going to have to set up the equipment and the printing machines in order to make sure that you're going to end up with a final image that has the right color accuracy and is registered correctly. So you have to run a number of test sheets through the press in order to make sure that you're going to get this nice looking printed piece in the end. These test sheets are what we refer to as make-ready card sheets or platforms, in this case, when we're making the Magic cards. So you might see that these have some unique features on them. They might have some misprints, or the color might be off, or you might see some images that are overlaid on top of each other. These test sheets these make-ready sheets are considered an industrial waste product. And so basically what we're doing in Secret Lair Drop is we're taking this industrial waste product, we're turning this into a packaging component and using that in Secret Lair. And we're giving it a second life in that way. So we're preventing a little bit of waste from going to the recycling, because typically these sheets would get shredded and then recycled. And instead we're putting in Secret Lair and trying to have fun with it and show you how card sheets can also be packaging.
Right, yeah, totally. Because we make these Magic cards on huge card sheets, right? Of like 121 or so cards per sheet. And we have a lot of extra test ones that happen that don't get used for anything. Well, instead of throwing them out, what if we just gave them to people as part of this Secret Lair? That's so cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's really fun. We're really curious to see how our fans react, and we would love feedback on it, as with all of the packaging changes we're making. Totally,
yeah. And if you have any feedback for Roni, definitely post it in the comments down below and let her know. I'll make sure she sees it. But it looks like, basically there's this little bit at the top here that can hold some cards. And so it'll kind of sit as a platform inside of that Secret Lair box, holding your cards in there securely, safely, and giving you a cool little takeaway to boot. That's really neat. So we just announced a bunch of super drops. We're testing this out. Where can you find this one?
So this will be released first in our Pixel Snowlands Secret Lair Drop.
So if you pick that up, you get this as a fun little bonus. And if you all like it, well, maybe we'll do more in the future. Who's to say? And it's not just the products you work on either, right? In fact, you've helped make Wizards a more green place. Do you want to talk about your role in the green team a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, the green team is a team that I started at Wizards about 7 years ago. And I was looking for a way to bring together like-minded people who are passionate about environmental sustainability. And so we gathered some people together, and what we do is it's a volunteer group. It's just us doing our thing and trying to, our thing is is trying to get other people within the company to learn a little bit more about environmental sustainability and be a little bit more environmentally friendly.
I think a lot of the best change comes from within, right? And so it's awesome that you're working to help promote being more green inside of Wizards, which I know for me makes me feel more conscious about. Like, as I'm working on products, I think about how much waste is this going to generate? Like, all that kind of stuff is in my mind a little more now. So I really appreciate all the hard work you do. And hopefully all of you out there watching are now thinking about this a little bit more, right? And as you're opening up your Magic product, maybe instead of just tossing it all in the trash, you sort it into recycling and, recycle some of those things that can be recycled. So looking ahead, Roni, what are the things you want to change the most about Magic's packaging? Are there things that blue sky, you can do whatever you want, you get to make the changes to? What are the things you want to do?
That's a great question. I think that ultimately what we'd love to see is for our players to be able to get their cards in something in packs that aren't made of plastic, right? So we know that we're selling that basically boosters are the things that people really love to open. And so we sell a lot of those. And I'm sure anyone who's ever been to an event or maybe opened up a booster box at home has seen that each time that you do that, you generate quite a bit of waste just with the few plastic wrappers that you're opening. So what we'd really love is to convert all of those over to a plastic-free option. And it seems like it might be easy to do, but in fact, I do view it as blue sky because we need to make sure that we're protecting our paper cards, and plastic does a really good job of protecting our cards. And we need to make sure that we're going to be able to replace that with a material that is more sustainable, but does just as good of a job. One of the other things that I think we've kind of talked about every now and then is that idea of just getting rid of packaging completely. What would it look like to deliver cards straight to our players' hands and they don't have to deal with all the wrapping in between? We've talked about maybe that looks like a vending machine. That takes a lot of work, a lot of coordination on the part of many different people to make something like that happen. But ultimately being able to forego a lot of packaging in the first place. This is coming from a packaging engineer, mind you, too. Get rid of the packaging. That would be really great.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Japan and I've seen like actual card vending machines, right? So it's not out of the question. It could happen someday, maybe. So here's something that happens to every Magic player, Roni. You've been playing for a long time. You've been opening up all these packs. You've been diligently recycling all the right things, of course. And you end up with just a ton of Magic cards. At some point, you've got all these commons and you try giving them away to friends. Maybe they don't want them or whatever. What do? Are Magic cards recyclable? Do they go in the garbage? What is a Magic card?
That's a great question. And I know that there's been a lot of discussion on that. We've had questions come into the company. I've taken a look at those and we've tried to field some of those. There is a misconception that our cards are not recyclable, but I'm here to say that most of our cards, in fact, are recyclable. They are made of paper. There is a layer in the center that is an adhesive that you might see. It's that blue piece in the middle if you were to rip up a card. And what that means is that it's not something that affects the recyclability. On typical packaging, any packaging that you might see, there is going to be adhesive or glue or tape or stickers. That's the kind of stuff that does get filtered out in the recycling process. So most of our Magic cards are recyclable. However, the foil cards do have a plastic carrier. It's a laminated foil. So there is a plastic layer in there. And therefore, although that might get sorted out during the recycling process, those you might want to throw into the trash. They're definitely less recyclable because it's not just paper.
So maybe foils, not so much, but everything else, good to go?
Yeah, hang on to your foils. They're pretty anyway.
Well, that's great. Now I can go recycle all my extra commons if I can't give them away. So that's awesome. Although I always recommend, talking to a local school group or something, seeing if you can give them away to a good cause. First, of course, but like any Magic player, we end up with a ton of extra commons. And then as far as the blue core Roni's talking about, a lot of you might not know this, so I just grabbed a random card off my desk. Here's Storm Rider Spirit. I'm sorry, Storm Rider Spirit. But if you tear it in half, you'll kind of see this blue core that you'll see a little bit right here. And that is exactly what Roni's talking about. So a lot of folks think that that's not recyclable, but it totally is, no problem. Sorry, Storm Rider Spirit. Roni, before we part today, do you have any more thoughts, things you want to share, stuff that you've learned from your time being sustainable you'd like for our fans to know about?
Yeah, I really feel strongly that when it comes to trying to do better by the environment, it's a team effort. And so I mentioned that earlier that we have a team of people working here. We do have a lot of suppliers that we work with. The changes that we're making to our packaging, they take a while to implement because there's a lot of moving parts, and it really takes an effort on everyone's behalf in order to make that happen. Our fans are a part of that, and we really do listen and we appreciate fan feedback. So please let us know what's working and what's not. And moving into 2022, I really hope that other people are as happy and excited with the changes that they continue to see as I am, because we have a lot more coming. Just can't talk about it yet.
Totally. Well, thank you so much, Roni, for everything you do. I know I'm really happy with a lot of the changes we've made recently, and there's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. I cannot wait for you to all see. If you have any questions for Roni or things you'd like to see changed about our packaging, please let us know in the comments down below, and we'll make sure that goes right back to her. And you really do make a difference by leaving those comments and letting her know about all the stuff you want changed. We act on player feedback, as she said, a lot. Thank you all so much for watching today, and I will talk with you again very, very soon. And of course, if you want a make-ready platform of your own, you can find it in the upcoming Pixel Lands Secret Lair, so go check that out. I will talk with you again very soon, and in the meantime, may you put your trash in the right bin. Recycle, everybody. You got this. Want to inspire a lot of future Magic mechanics. Artifact tokens. Now, non-creature artifact tokens had been in Magic for a little bit. Nahiri's Stoneforged Blade, Guild's Gold, and yes, Goblin Kaboomus landmine tokens are 3 great examples. But those were individual cards, not mechanics. I'm not exactly